The word nuisance means a person or a thing that causes inconvenience or annoyance. The Nuisance is another interesting drama written by Rabindranath Tagore which emphasizes on human values and relationships. We've also read another heart-touching story by Rabindranath Tagore called Notun Putul or The New Doll, which depicted the beautiful relationship between a grandfather and his granddaughter. The Nuisance, as the name suggests, centered around a few relationships that anybody like us could grow easily, but not always can we keep them up as pride and envy seeps in. The main characters of this story are Sharat and his sick wife Kiranmoyi. The second character is Neelkanta, a teenage stranger boy for whom Kiranmoyi had compassionate feelings. And the last but not the least character is Satish, who is another teenage boy and Sharat's brother too, who brings along with him bitterness, heartbreak and deceit in the kind relationship that Kiranmoyi shared with Neelkanta. The story starts with a scene when Sharat tries to convince his wife to stay back in Chandannagar for her full recovery. Kiranmoyi was sick and the doctor had advised her to live in a serene place without any stress. So her husband brought her to their house in Chandannagar. But Kiranmoyi missed her in-laws and the neighbors as there was no one in Chandannagar who she could talk to. They were almost ready to leave the place when one evening in their garden came an about 17-year-old Brahmin boy called Neelkanta, who was a travelling performer. He was not alone and not a Brahmin for real. He was travelling in the sea to Chandannagar to perform in a nearby house. As it was a very stormy night and they were sailing in the sea, their boat sank. Neelkanta was a good swimmer and hence he could save himself. He did not know what happened to his people. Kiranmoyi offers food, clothes and shelter. Neelkanta continues living in their house. Neelkanta was a lively character who would dress up like Sita and Radha and act in front of Kiranmoyi to entertain her. She liked his acting skills and her husband too was relieved as he first thought Neelkanta came as a blessing in disguise now that his wife was ready to stay for her full recovery. Soon things started growing sour and Sharat found Neelkanta repulsive. Neelkanta would do things which would offend Sharat very easily. For example, he would secretly use Sharat's hookah, bring his dirty stray dog to sleep on Sharat's bed, made friends with all the kids in the village and entertained them, etc. Often Sharat would scold and beat him. But that didn't affect Neelkanta at all as he was used to harsher treatment. However, he was very sensitive to Kiranmoyi as she played a role almost similar to a mother and a friend. She liked to cook for others and she would often cook and serve food for Neelkanta too. But things started to change once when Sharat's brother Satish comes in. He was of Neelkanta's age and was equally fond of Kiranmoyi. Neelkanta felt uncomfortable and envious when they joked and played around. Kiranmoyi had almost forgotten Neelkanta and gave him less time after Satish came in. Satish would ill-treat him and also treat Neelkanta like a servant. Kiranmoyi, like other days, would not serve him food anymore, and that really made him upset. Before Satish left, he found his inkstand missing. He pointed finger at Neelkanta and called him a thief. But Kiranmoyi stood by his side and believed he could never do such a thing. She knew how Neelkanta must have felt when he was called a thief, so to show her compassion and sympathy, she takes along with her some gifts and some money to give Neelkanta. As she was ready to keep it, the gifts and the money, in his trunk, in his absence she opens his trunk, which was almost full. There she found the inkstand. She was surprised. Neelkanta arrived and saw that she knew the truth now. He wanted to tell her that he was not a thief, but wanted to teach Satish a lesson. But instead, he leaves the house. Kiranmoyi throws the inkstand in the river and leaves the house with Sharat after a few days. At the end of the story, the house in Chandannagar where Sharat and Kiranmoyi lived now only wears a deserted look where Nilkanta's dog remained still searching for his mother.